Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. Thank you so much for stopping by my tunnel today. Today is a work day, get it done. I'm excited because this, like I said, April is the month of transition. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is transitioning more of the high tunnel from the fall and winter to prepare for our summer crops. Our estimated last frost date is 2.5 weeks away on April the 20th. And so that means it's time to get ready. So for those that are brand new to me, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. We are in Tennessee in zone 7B. And so let me tell you a little bit about what we have going on here on our farm. And for those that are not new, thank you so much again for stopping by each and every time. So if you're new, here's kind of what we have on our farm in terms of growing spaces. What I'm standing in right now is our high tunnel, which is 30 by 96. We have 6 raised beds, and then we have the rest grown in ground. So we have 5 rows that are approximately about 45 feet long. And so that's what you're going to see us doing today, is clearing out the raised bed stuff where the stuff has gone to seed and has bolted, as well as the stuff that's in the ground, as much as we possibly can. That is the first step to us getting ready to transition over to the summer crops. So in previous videos, I've shown you that a lot of the stuff has gone to seed, and that's okay. It has been in here since September. We have had a great run. There are no complaints about the level of harvesting that we've received. We have had abundance this past fall and spring, but now it's time to get ready for the summer. And so I have my son down here. He is helping to clear out some of the things, because some of the stuff, it's in there. Like they say, I'm not moving. I may be bolted, but I'm planted by the rivers of water. I'm not moving, but you gotta go. Okay. Anything that don't produce gotta go. But you have produced, like the Bible says, well done, good and faithful servant. But now it's time for you to move on. So anyway, so my son is doing that. I'm also going to be doing some harvesting, and what I'm calling like the last and the final harvest of some of the things that we're pulling up. We still have quite a bit of cabbage to harvest, but we also have some cabbage coming up. I don't know if it's going to make it before I need the space, but I'm going to let it continue to hang out for another couple of weeks or so and just see what is going on. So let me turn the camera around and show you the area that we're starting with in terms of pulling up stuff and harvesting, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so if you take a look here on the left hand side, that's all the cabbages and stuff. So that was a second succession that probably went in the ground. One row January, one row February. So again, it may or may not make it. This third row here is kale that you can see. I will be harvesting that, and we will be pulling that up. And then over here, you can see that's where my son is starting to try to get some of these plants down. And son, you can just cut it at the base, and then we'll have to get Daddy to come behind and like maybe dig it up or whatever. So if you can't get the root up, that's fine. Just cut it all at the base, and that'll be fine. Like I told you guys, some of the stuff is like planted like, no, I'm not going anywhere. But I'm like, but yeah, you gotta go. And again, I don't have time for the roots to decompose. Now, if this is the end of a season, I wasn't going to be planting in those same spots in the next, 4 to 5 months or so, then I would just let the root decompose in place. But we don't have time for that. But they're really planted in there. So he's getting those done. You can see we've already started. You can see that row there is pretty much primarily done. So we've already started this process. This is just our attempts to get it more to completion so that we'll be ready when it's time to plant in a couple of weeks. So in terms of other spaces that we have here on the farm, we also, to the left of me, outside of the tunnel, we have an in-ground growing space that we primarily only use in the summertime. So you will see a lot of that this summer. I call that that's my pride and joy. I love my tunnel and what it provides in terms of season extension, but I absolutely love growing outside in the ground. It is hard work down on your hands and knees when it's trying to first get the stuff in the ground, but I absolutely love it. We have, and that space is 40 by 100. So the rows are 100 feet rows, and we have 7 of those, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll see that probably in subsequent or upcoming videos, because we definitely have to get that space ready. But the reason why I'm focusing on the high tunnel is because we'll plant the high tunnel before we plant out here. So even though our estimated last frost date is April the 20th, you won't see me out there on April the 20th planting outside in the ground, right? I'll watch the forecast to make sure that there's not going to be a frost in the next 10 days and all of that stuff. But I'll be more likely to plant in here first just because it's covered, and it'll be more likely to where the temperature will be more controlled. And then also our third growing space is actually behind our house. We have 5 raised beds back there. That will be the third thing that will be planted, because right now in those beds are onions and garlic, and so it'll be a while, like June-ish, before they're ready to harvest. And so those are the 3 spaces that we're working with. So today we're in the high tunnel. So what I'm about to do now is grab me a basket, and we're going to harvest all the cabbage that we can that's ready to go and clear that space out, while my son is also clearing out some of the collard greens that have bolted. Isn't she pretty? I think she is. Yay, I'm so excited. So I'll lift my basket on the other side. So let me go grab my basket. And this is our first cabbage. Let's see how many more we have that we can harvest. Okay, y'all, we got a basket full of cabbage. Beautiful. This is the most cabbage that I've ever successfully harvested. It's 6. So it's not a lot, but it's the most for me. And so I'm really excited because I love cabbage. It's one of my favorite vegetables. I've tried it several times and have been unsuccessful. So that's why I always say, and I will always keep saying it. And for those of you that watch every single video of mine, I hope that you don't get tired of me saying it. But there's many people, it may be your first time hearing me. Hear me well, is that you can grow food, and if at first you don't succeed, try again. There are some things, again, that you'll see that one season I will finally get it after trying 2 or 3 times, right? And so this is the most cabbage I've ever had. I've already harvested, I think, 2 or 3 before that. So again, I'm very proud. And the ones that are behind me look great. I don't think they're just gonna have time to get it together, and I hate to pull them up out of the ground. But over here is where the tomatoes are going. So okay, guys, look at all this kale. A lot of my tomatoes are ready to be put out. So I don't think they're gonna make it everywhere. But I'm gonna give them another couple of weeks behind me. But everything else on this other side that I just did, I just harvested. I have a few
those plants. And pretty much the
leftover,
will be
and that's it. But pretty much
2.5
we're
rows of
getting those first 2
that
rows
I showed you in the beginning that we're gonna let hang
done.
out
So
for
now I'm
another
going to move
couple
on
of
to the
weeks. So
kale.
I'm
going to start harvesting kale, so that way when I'm done harvesting that kale, we can pull up those
in the raised beds to
and
harvest
we'll
more
be done
kale.
With kale season as well. So let me go grab another basket. Okay, guys, look at all this kale. You can't even hardly see my face. Look at that. It's falling everywhere. So basically, this is the kale from 6 plants. You saw me on the video just harvesting that. And so my son will come behind me. He'll pull up those plants, and pretty much the in-ground space will be cleared except 2 half rows of cabbages that I showed you in the beginning that we're going to let hang out for another couple of weeks. So I'm going to put this basket down, grab another basket, and I'm going to meet you on in the raised beds to harvest more kale. Show you what we have accomplished so far. Some things out, we're about to amend the bed and prep it so that it'll be ready to plant. So that bed is completely done. If you look down here in the in-ground space, you can see all those rows are done except the 2 that I told you about. So that is done. And then if you move over here to where our original or first lettuce bed was, that is done as well, completely cleaned out. And here is our harvest. You can see on the ground I got lettuce, cabbage, kale, and more kale. Okay, y'all, so now we're about to add and amend the bed, the bed that had the kale in it. So let me tell you what all I'm adding. I'm adding quite a bit of stuff to this bed. So I'm adding worm castings, which is just a good overall general fertilizer. So it can't hurt your plants. You can't put too much, all that. It's just a general overall fertilizer that's good. But the next two things I'm adding are specific to what this particular bed or beds need based on my soil test results. So I did a video talking about soil testing maybe about a month or so ago. I'll try to remember to pop it up here. So if you can go back and take a look at it. If you're not doing soil testing, I want to highly encourage you to do soil testing. It is the next level in your gardening if you have never done it before. It is, again, I won't rehash everything that I talked about in that video about why it's important and how you get it done. But when you do not get your soil tested, you are literally operating in the dark. You don't know what your soil needs. So the best you can do is do something general like an all-purpose fertilizer, worm castings, and not that that is bad, but that is not optimum or ideal in terms of just doing that without knowing what your soil really needs. So I had my soil tested in these raised beds for the first time, and they are lacking in nitrogen. All of my places, the in-ground space, in the tunnel, in the raised bed, and out there, all were low in nitrogen, right? So I am going to amend this bed with cottonseed meal. You can use cottonseed meal. You can use blood meal. I just don't have any blood meal right now. I got to go buy some, but I do have cottonseed meal, which is another great fertilizer if you're low in nitrogen, right? Again, we're not happenstance. We are being very intentional about what my soil needs. So your soil may be high in nitrogen, so you would not add a nitrogen amendment, right? But for me, I'm going to be adding cottonseed meal today, which is a slow release fertilizer high in nitrogen. Again, blood meal is another great option for nitrogen, as well as feather meal, right? So we're going to be adding in the worm castings, which is just general. We're going to add in cottonseed meal, which is specific to my soil and it needs nitrogen. And then all of my soil was lacking in micronutrients. So macronutrients are the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are the big three, the NPK. But your micronutrients are your boron, your iron, your manganese, your zinc, things like that people don't pay attention to. But if you can get your top three in balance, the N, P, and K, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and then start to focus on your micronutrients, then again, you're building your soil. You're giving your soil everything that it needs to produce healthy plants, which is going to give you great food and great abundance, right? Your soil is a living thing. You have to feed your soil, right? You're not feeding your plants, you're feeding your soil. So mine was low in micronutrients. And so how do you fix that? So one way to do that is to use azomite trace minerals, right? It is a blend, and you can, son, hand me that package right there. This is what it looks like. You can probably get it at your local co-op. If you have a good co-op, they'll carry it. You can also, where did I get this? The Seed Supply. That's where I got it from. The Seed Supply. You can also go to Seven Springs Farm Supply, and you might even be able to find it on Amazon. I'm not 100% sure, but it's azomite trace minerals. So it has all the things that your soil needs when it comes to those micronutrients. So I'm going to be adding this to my bed. And then the next thing I'm going to add is a soil conditioner from Redmond's. Son, hand me the blue bag. Exchange with me. This is from Redmond's, the one that make the Redmond salt that I talk about all the time. They also have a gardening organic line. They have, I think, 3 different products. This is called the Soil Build. There's another one. It's on my shelf. I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, it's bioavailable. I'll let you read it. Humates, macro minerals, micro minerals, and Redmond conditioner, right? So I'm going to be putting some of this in the bed. Then once we do that, we're going to top it with a layer of brand new fresh compost. And then bam, we're ready to plant just like that. So we're about to get busy. right, guys, we got all the amendments in. My son is smoothing out the final part of compost. This always makes me happy. There is nothing like a freshly made bed ready to go, ready to be planted. So obviously the next step would be to do the exact same bed behind us in the lettuce bed, but I'm out of compost. Believe it or not, I bought so many bags, but I've been using them, you know, all over as we get new spaces ready. And for these beds, it's a 4x8. It usually takes 3 bags of the 1 cubic feet bags of compost. If I get a 2 cubic foot bag, then I can usually do maybe 1.5 of those. I like the 1 cubic feet just because it's easier for me to handle if I have to do it myself and don't have my son or my husband out here and then I'm getting it from the store. But I'm out of compost, so I got to go buy some more compost. So I don't want to amend this lettuce bed until I can top it with compost. But at least it's done and it's cleared out. So I'm feeling mighty accomplished today. Let me show you some of the other spaces that are not yet ready to be moved yet and what we still have left growing. Established to be our lettuce bed, so you can see that the first succession of lettuce in these first 2 rows are growing beautifully. We started some more here in the middle. We got space to put out some more. And then that is a broccoli plant that I don't think is gonna make it. But I got something to show you on the other side. Let's go over here to where the collard greens are. And look at that. There's a little piece of broccoli going. So this whole bed is the latest succession of collard greens. So they have never been picked. So I'll be picking those at some point before we clear the bed out. So I should get one good harvest off of these, and that'll be good to go. And then we'll take those up. This bed here again is the bed that, we've established for the summer. This is one of the newer beds. We have our cellar and our deal. I showed you that on last week's video. And then this bed here is one from the fall / spring. These are our carrots, our second succession of carrots. They are getting tall. I don't even want to start to pull them. I don't see them crowning, so I'm not even going to pull them. But they are getting tall. And then interspersed is a lot of cilantro that is growing nicely. So this bed is the carrots and the cilantro. This bed will probably stay this way probably until much later on. Maybe another month or so. We'll see. So those are the beds that are left over. So this is the only bed that's left over from the quote-unquote fall, so to speak, except the new cilantro that's in there, and then that bed there with those collard greens there. Everything else is will be for the spring. Also wanted to show you our comfrey that we planted together. Y'all, comfrey grows fast because literally in a week it's done this. It was well below the soil. It popped up, pushed through, and it's growing quite nicely. So y'all, I'm feeling accomplished about what we got done today. And the fact that we're 2.5 weeks away is pretty exciting, to say the least. Now, some of my plants are like busting at the seams to be in the ground. Matter of fact, let me show you. Look what I saw this morning. This is a marigold. I have a whole tray of marigolds over there, but I wanted to show you this one. And there's probably 10 that are budding, just like you can see this part, but not the flower. Like all it's gonna take is a little, and the flower's gonna come out. Like half of the tray is like that, but one has already budded. It's like, girl, I'm not waiting on you to put me out. I'm ready to go right now. And I looked up that marigolds can take temperatures up to like 40 degrees, which is great. Right, tonight is supposed to be like 36, 37. But I think they would be fine in the tunnel. So I may plant these out in the next week or so. I got to go back to my crop plan and finish it because I hate just starting to put stuff out if I don't know specifically where it's going to go, and make sure that my stuff is planned out. So I got to go back to my crop plan, finalize what's going where, so that I can feel comfortable doing that. But let me show you one other thing. These are tomatillas. This is my first time doing tomatillas, And again, we started this at maybe the 8 weeks before last frost day. But look at that. It already has a flower. Again, I've never grown them before, so I didn't know that they grow this fast. Is this pretty common? But they like, we ready. We ready. Got little buds on them and all that. So let me know on tomatillas. I'll look it up as well. Are they bushy or are they big and tall like a tomato plant, or are they more bushy? Let me know. I think in my crop plant, I have them outside in the outside garden, which will be probably another 3 weeks before I'm planting out there. 3 to 4 weeks. But I wonder if they're going to make it in this pot. I guess they will, because, yeah, I guess they'll be fine. But anyway, let me know about tomatillas and how they grow if you have grown those before. So that's kind of, like I said, some stuff is like, it's ready. It is definitely ready. See my seed starting table? It's full of seedlings that I need to either put out or up pot. Of course, that's just a little smidge. The house is covered. So the plants are like, we ready. Not all of them, but most of them are. I should say most. A lot of them are, for sure. So anyway, I want to say thank you guys for joining me today as we start to get the greenhouse ready for the summer. I'm feeling good about what we accomplished. I feel like we don't have that much more to do. In terms of the raised beds, that's kind of the easy part. So the bed with the lettuce, we'll go ahead and amend that and put compost on in the next day or so. And then it'll be all about amending the holes in the ground. And I may do that, as we plant or before we plant. I haven't quite decided yet how we're going to do that, but we are well on our way. I hope that things are going well in your world as you're preparing for spring / summer. Some of you, like I said, are ahead of me. So let me know if there's anybody here that's already planted stuff outside in your area because your frost date has passed, or if you just threw caution to the wind and like, let me do it, like the summer stuff. I know that if you're doing some spring stuff, you might have that stuff in the ground, but let me know. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.